Well, Lana has kindly agreed to take a few questions, but I want to point something out, some terrific work by the International Joint Commission. A series of 6 studies on key technical issues. It won't be in your packet. I printed this out yesterday. It was just released by the IJC. And it goes, and it's part of the IJC's work for the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement. It's called their Priority Cycle Report. Nuisance and harmful algae, everything you need to know. Chemicals of emerging concern, frogs with 3 heads. Rapid response to invasive species, aquatic invasive species, rapid response. Beaches and recreational waters, we like those, we love those. It's also there for you. Let me see if I got the other 2. Yes, I do. Risks and benefits of fish consumption. And also, something that's kind of an interesting issue, the nearshore framework. How do we have the peculiar and interesting issues associated with the nearshore? What do you do? How do you approach it in a technically effective and proficient way? And so with that, Lana, maybe you could talk a little bit about what these reports are going to do and where the IJC is planning on taking them with your technical leadership.
Thank you. Well, those reports were selected as much as 4 years ago for further study because they're all particularly knotty problems without easy answers. The IJC, again, not unlike the Commission, is very science dependent, and so the work we do and the work we publish is only stretches as far as the science does. Let me say one other thing too. Besides those reports, which are issues of particular concern, each one of them very important, we are charged by the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement and have been since 1972 with evaluating, assessing the health of the Great Lakes and assessing, reporting on the programs and policies that governments at all level are the governments meeting their obligations under the treaty. This is those papers are one expression of that, but we also have now a new paper that's coming out even before it's done. It's a work in progress because we are truly inviting input, and that looks at 14, and the number will rise to 20 different Great Lakes health indicators that look at, again, the health of the Great Lakes. We need to get back to where we were in the 70s, and I mean all of us, where the governments and all governments involved in the Great Lakes Basin worked collaboratively with the Commission and the IJC to better understand and hold each other accountable for, again, the programs that are working, the programs that are not working, the investments that need to be made. And once again, it's not acceptable for governments to throw up their hands and say, oh, we don't have the money, let the carp roll in. That's not an acceptable approach.
We have time for at least one more question, maybe 2.
Jim?
Yes, Kelly.
Yes, perhaps you could give us the IJC's perspective on the government's efforts to update and revise the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement.
Yes. On the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement, which is being revised for the first time since 1987, the IJC has lots of opinions, and we've expressed them repeatedly in writing and every other way that we can imagine. There are people who believe that the IJC, because of our relationship to the agreement, is somehow drafting or at the table drafting that agreement. We are not any more than, well, maybe somebody in this room is, but most of us are not at that table, and we have not seen the language. We meet with the negotiators on both sides, both the governments, but we don't know what's in it, for sure. What we want is more accountability. What we want is annexes that are very specific, goal-driven, timeline-driven, accountability built into that. What we'd like is to get back to the governments working as they did with us in the 70s, but stopped in 1987, providing adequate information so that we could really evaluate programs. What we'd like is a very strong assertion that there is, among others, an obligation to protect human health as well as ecosystem health. So there's several things that we've asked. I think that they're making progress. It's in fits and starts, and I hate to say this because it was supposed to be done a year ago. But we hope by the end of the first quarter of next year that we'll all be at a signing ceremony together, and that we'll all be celebrating the language in there. And I hope that comes true.
Thank you. Other questions for the chairwoman? Well, thank you very much.